Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make some oat pancakes with some raspberry and honey sauce to go over the top. This is a recipe from BBC Food, from a Nigella Lawson recipe basically. And this is very good for those who are gluten intolerant potentially. I have somebody in the family who can't eat flour, but could eat these pancakes because they don't have flour in them. So it's not a difficult recipe, and you only need a few ingredients. You need oat flour, and I would explain, I've made my own, and I'll explain that as I go on to the ingredients. So let's do that now. So here I have 100 grams, which is 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of rolled oats. But as you can see, they're not looking like rolled oats now, and that's because I put them into my little grinder that goes with my immersion blender, and I ground them down. But you can do the same in a food processor. You simply blitz the rolled oats until they're a fine powder. If you have a couple of little powdery flakes rather than floury type pieces, that will be fine. But using this little grinder that I have, that made mincemeat of the rolled oats very, very quickly. So, but if you want to buy oat flour, which you can do, that's fine. But as I said, that's 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of the rolled oats. That's before they've been ground. I have 4 grams, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1.5 grams, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 3 grams, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 5 millilitres, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 medium egg, which would be large in the USA, 100 millilitres, 6 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons of milk. And I'm using a combination of almond milk and coconut milk that I have, but in Nigella's recipe she uses oat milk, but she goes on to say you can use any milk you want, whether it's cow's milk or an alternative to cow's milk. You can use whatever milk you want basically. I have 150 grams of honey, which is about 7 tablespoons, and 150 grams, 5¼ ounces of frozen raspberries. You could use fresh, but frozen raspberries works just as well, and they're cheaper basically. And I also have here 5 millilitres, a teaspoon or so of vegetable oil. That's going to be used for greasing the plates upon which I'm going to griddle the pancakes. So that's all the ingredients, and the first thing we need to do is to combine the honey and the raspberries to make our syrup. So I'll put the raspberries into a saucepan, and I'll pour the honey in as well. And I'm simply going to put that on the heat, stirring it until the raspberries are completely thawed and it forms a nice syrup. Now you actually don't need to see that because it's only heating it up, but I'll show you what it looks like when I've finished it. So here's my raspberry and honey, and I'll just set that to one side. We don't need that until we're ready to eat our pancakes. So the next thing I'm going to do is to put my oats into a larger bowl, and I'm going to add in the cinnamon and the baking powder and the salt. And I'm just going to give those a stir around. And I ought to say, you can use other spices if you prefer, rather than cinnamon. Or you can just leave the spices out and just have the basic oatmeal flavour with vanilla. So I'll just set that to one side while I combine my milk with the egg and the vanilla. And that's good enough. And so then I'm going to pour that into the oat mixture. I'm going to mix that to get it combined. And that's good enough. So I'll set that to one side while I get my griddle ready to cook the pancakes. And I should say you can do this in a large frying pan if you want to, but I have my griddle plate, so I'm going to do it in there. And I'm going to pour on about half a teaspoon of my oil, and I'm just going to lightly brush that over the plate. And I have two plates here, one of which you can't see. And I'll do the same with that as well. But I'm going to turn the griddle on and heat it to a medium heat. And then I'm going to take about 3 tablespoons of my mixture, and I'm going to put it onto my griddle. Like that. And do the same again. And I'm going to leave those and let those cook for 2 to 3 minutes until hopefully a couple of holes start to appear in the top. And I can just see a hole appearing here, so I'm going to flip that over and flip this one over as well. And let them cook for about 2 minutes. And then I'll turn the heat off and they're ready to serve. And so to serve those, I'm going to drizzle over some of the raspberries and honey. And that looks quite good like that. So I'll have a taste of it, and as you can see, the juice of the honey and the raspberries seeps into the oat pancake. That's actually very nice. Very oaty, obviously. have another taste. So the texture is different to the more traditional American style pancake because it's oats rather than flour, but it's very, very nice. Perfect with this raspberries and honey, I have to say. So Nigella's recipe says this makes 8 or 9, but I actually only got 5. But perhaps if I had loosened the batter just a little bit with a little drop more milk, that would have made a difference. But these are perfectly fine as they are. However, I should say that if you allow the batter to sit, it will absorb the mixture and it will stiffen up. So you need to have your pan heated ready to use almost as soon as you've mixed the batter together. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there'll be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well, and I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.